Hamburg. Yeah, so I'm doing the housekeeping as usual when JP is not yet with us. So we are all very familiar with our Zoom meetings by now. So please make sure that we see your name, and please also put on your camera and mute yourself when you are not talking. We will record the session to make it available on YouTube later. And with this tuning in, you're actually consenting to the recording. Yes, and I think we will have a Q&A after Christian finished his talk and presentation, and you can use the chat function to ask your questions, and I will then try my best to moderate. Yeah, I hand over to President Dinesh now to open the meeting, to call the meeting to order.
Thank you, Bridget. Nice to see you from Hamburg.
Absolutely wonderful to be with you.
You look good.
Yeah, you know, I have my jumper on, you know, and my scarf around because it's about 10 degrees outside.
Right. Okay, it's my pleasure now to call the meeting to order. And I'm most pleased to welcome you all to this 18th Rotary meeting this year. We do not have our honorary members today. I think they will be joining later, perhaps. Fellow Rotarians, distinguished guests, very good evening and warm welcome to all of you. I think it's also my pleasure to welcome our speaker this evening, Mr. Christian Westbeld, and I saw he's here, General Manager of Raffles Hotel. Everybody knows about Raffles. And this, I think, is very important to say that our history of our club is associated with Raffles. This is the hotel where our forefathers thought of starting a club or founding our club probably on 6th of June, 1930. You will hear more about it a little later. Thank you, Christian, for accepting our invitation and being here. We look forward to hear you a little later. I think we do not have visiting Rotarians. So I'll call upon Past President Palita to raise the toast for Rotary International. PP Palita, please. I think we saw her here.
You need to unmute.
Palita, can you unmute?
Okay.
Can you unmute?
Okay, I got it. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Okay, President Dinesh, fellow Rotarians and friends, it is my pleasure to raise a toast to this noble organization serving humanity for over 110 years, Rotary International.
Rotary International.
Rotary International.
Thank you, PP Palita. I'll share my slides now. Okay, I think we are still in the Diwali week. So once again, happy Diwali to all of you.
Happy Diwali to you.
Thank you. Honorary Secretary is very glad to see you once again. Bridget, do you have any announcement?
No, I don't think other than the usual announcement that Varun Gulati, our director, Varun Gulati, is hosting the ISC meeting tomorrow. Yes, I think, is that true? Tomorrow?
Yes.
Yes, it's tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow, and we're doing a tribute to Dr. Thevatasan. So please join, anyone, even outside ISC, please join us.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's the only announcement I have.
You open your meeting at 6:45, Varun?
Yes, sir. 6:45. 6:45 to 8 o'clock. The meeting is 7 to 8. 6:45 is for fellowship.
Thank you. All right, so we have our birthdays. 22nd of November, Vineet, Sarangdhar, and Suhami. We have seen him here today. That's on 24th November. Wish both of you, wish you very, very happy birthday. And all our fellow Rotarians joins with me to wish you very happy birthday. Wedding anniversaries. Celebrants are our honorary treasurer Manish and Nandita on 21st November, Dr. Klaus and Shueng on 23rd November, honorary member PTG Ivor and Maureen on 23rd November, and IPP Deepak and Bianca on 24th November. Please join me in wishing them all the best for their wedding anniversary this week. November, we are in November, mid of November, and still it is Rotary Foundation Week. And you have seen that we have been having some activities right from the beginning of the month. This month reminds us of importance of Rotarian support of our foundation. When we give to Rotary Foundation, we directly support Rotary projects that eradicate polio, bring peace, develop communities, and more recently help COVID-19 affected communities. The foundation gives back more than we give. And I would first like to recognize and appreciate and give thanks to the generosity of our Rotarians who have contributed to the foundation this year. We have two major donors for the Rotary year 2020-2021, and both of them are here. First, I would like to please join me in congratulating and thanking Rotarian Willie Hayes to become a major donor level 1. Major donor level 1 is at contributing $10,000 US. Please.
Here.
Oh, yes, Willie, I can see you. And we have very special. Why special? Because we have a very new Rotarian Tom Wolf is there, and he has become the major donor level 1 within his first month of joining Rotary. So he has contributed $10,000 US. Let us congratulate him and thank him for this excellent donation which he has done to the Rotary Foundation. Thank you, Tom.
Yay.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Tom.
Congrats.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
And we have Paul Harris Fellows for the Rotary year 2020-21. We already announced, I think last week or week before, our honorary secretary, Bridget, and our very new Rotarian, not so, I think, yeah, she joined last Rotary year. Rotarian Louisa Lee, if you are, I have not seen her, if you are here.
Oh, she's coming. She's coming.
Yes.
Okay.
I just sent her the link.
All right. Louisa, thank you very much for becoming Paul Harris Fellow. And the third gentleman, everybody knows, Rotarian Louis Lim. I think he is Paul Harris Fellow for the 5th time. I can't see it, but I think it's 5th time. So thank you, all of you. Congratulations. Thank you for your contribution. We also have End Polio Challenge, and I would like to thank all the members who have participated and contributors towards the End Polio 2020 challenge. The club collected about $12,000 towards this initiative. And I would like to thank all our fellow Rotarians and friends for contributing to end polio. And we will continue to do it. Thank you very much. Where this money goes, how we use it. We just had 91st approval of global grants. That means our club has been involved in 91 global grants which have been approved, and lots of projects have been completed. But this project will be in Brazil. And here, our congratulations to our very newest Rotarians, Rotarian Camilla and Louis. They worked very hard to get this grant approved, and together with past President Dr. Shaul as primary contacts. This is the first global grant in Brazil. Thank you very much. I have to make some appeal today. As you all know, on 4th of November, we had a weekly meeting and we witnessed the presentation of our past President Shahul Hamid, who is now Director of Rotary Foundation. Sorry, he was the District Rotary Foundation Committee, Chair of the District Rotary Foundation Committee, on the wonderful humanitarian projects that our own club and our very own Rotary Foundation have been doing through the global grant systems. All the good work done is only made possible by the generous and kind contribution of our members and friends of our members. Every dollar contributed to the TRF annual fund for this Rotary year will be matched 300% for global grant done outside Singapore, and for global grant in Singapore, the matching is 400%. This simply means that through the global grant system, a $100 donation becomes $300. And what it can do. This was also explained by P.P. Shahul, and I would like to repeat. It pays for 7 cataract surgeries in India and Nigeria. It sponsors 50 food packages for COVID-19 stricken communities. Vaccinate 12 young girls against cervical cancer. It sponsors 2 children for basic primary education in Indonesia. At the end of the meeting, I announced that RC Singapore, our club, will support the Rotary Foundation with all our members becoming 100% EREY. EREY is every Rotarian every year. So every Rotarian contributes $100. I also said that during last club assembly when DG Mohan was here. So fellow Rotarians, please, this is the minimum we can do. Of course, some of you will keep becoming the Paul Harris Fellow by contributing $1,000. As you've seen, we have major donors, that continues, but we would like to become a giving club where we get all our members involved. It is not possible everybody to contribute these large amounts, but at least $100 we should be able to do. Especially this year, we have no hosting fees. We do not pay any lunch and dinner for our meetings. So I would like to appeal everyone to become EREY. We can say at the end of the year that our club is 100% EREY, every Rotarian every year. We will have we will have a team heading this EREY campaign, and you will hear all the details, especially how we can make the payments. Payments is $100. If you want to pay in Singapore dollars, it will be 150. So we'll explain that in an email, which will be received by all of you. So, and I hope we can achieve together this target this year. Thank you very much. So that's every Rotarian every year. And now we are back to our KIFER program. And KIFER, as you know, is Know Your Fellow Rotarian, and who is here today. And he's our newest Rotarian Luis Andrade. I just mentioned before how he contributed, how he worked hard to get the global grant approved in Brazil. And I'm very pleased to give you Luis, Rotarian Luis, please.
Thank you, President.
Yeah.
Hello, Rotarian. It's a great pleasure to be here with you today. I'm just sharing my screen. You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Perfect. So again, it's a great pleasure to be here with you, bringing some additional colors to who I am. I will start this quick presentation with my family, of course. In this picture that you see, in my right, you see my wife, my dear wife, Rotarian Camila Andrade, who is here with us today. I am 31 years old, and I've been with her 13 years. In my left side, you see my parents. They came here to visit me in Singapore in the end of last year. And in the side of my wife, you see one of my brothers. One interesting aspect of my family is that I am a brother of triplets, identical triplets. So they share that general DNA. As for my geographical journey, I am from the state of Piauí in Brazil. Piauí is in the northeast region of Brazil, here in red. When I was 15, I've moved by myself to São Paulo, where is in southeast region of Brazil, here in orange. There I did high school and college, and during college I've done an exchange semester in Australia. Later on, I had also the opportunity to live in the UK, in the US, and now in Singapore. As for my professional journey, I started my career with management consulting. Later, I've joined a mid-market agribusiness company. Wow. I also had the opportunity to start my own startup. And now I work with digital innovation in a multinational agribusiness company headquartered here in Singapore. In regard to my education, I have a bachelor in business administration and an MBA. This is a special moment for me. It was the moment I graduated in Cambridge, my MBA. Rotary. I started in the Rotary life in 2013. My first service there was as a chair in the youth committee. My mission was to revamp that committee. And my action was to develop an Interact Club there. And in this picture, you see the Interact Club developed at that time. Always by the side of my wife, you see her there. Later on, I had the opportunity to serve as vice president. And in this picture, you see I'm giving a speech in one of our regional meetings. That's back in Brazil. I was in another Rotary Club before joining the RC Singapore. At that time, also, I had the opportunity to serve as Sergeant at Arms. Moving forward to here in the RC Singapore, this first picture, it was my first meeting with the RC Singapore. That was in November 2019. I am serving nowadays with the ISC led by Varun, together with Tapan and PP Tapan and PP Dr. Shahu. As it was mentioned before, I'm working also with the global grants with them. And in the bottom, you see a picture of a volunteer I had with the CSC group led by Dr. Irina. Rotary is very dear to me for many reasons that you can expect. But one that you may not know is that Rotary allowed me to develop these initiatives back in Brazil. It's very close to my heart. The name is Sementes da Fraternidade. That means loosely in English, seeds of solidarity. So this initiative basically supports underprivileged students, but students that want to make a difference in their respective communities. So we empower those that want to make a difference. Till now, we've supported plus 70 students, and our aim is to spread the seed of the solidarity, to spread to all the community the good views that these kids are doing. To finalize this presentation, I'd like to leave here with one of the lessons that I've learned during my time in Rotary. When we do good things happen, planets align. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rotarian Louis. As you have seen, Rotarian Louis is one of our youngest Rotarian in our club, and we really look forward to you to be a Rotarian who can set examples. You have, in a short span of a couple of years, you have so much of Rotary experience, and we are very proud to have you, Rotarian Louis. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now will be the speaker time, and before we invite our speaker, I think I would like to welcome all the members who have joined later. Now we are 57, and I would like to welcome also all the Rotary spouses who have joined. I've seen some of them, and we expect our First Lady Rekha will join, Rajni, Prabha I've seen join already, Mamta, wife of spouse of Mukund, Tijali, Preeti, Anita, Preeti, and Bianca. Warm welcome to all of you to enjoy today's evening, today's Rotary meeting with us. And before I call upon our speaker, Mr. Christian Westbeld, who is the General Manager of Raffles Singapore, and he will speak on Raffles Hotel Singapore, a timeless icon. So I would like to call upon past President P.P. Lipke to introduce our speaker. P.P. Lipke, please.
Thank you, President Dinesh. It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Christian Westbeld, General Manager of Raffles Hotel, who's our speaker. Unfortunately, this picture is of him pre-COVID. You will see him in his full glory post-COVID. The history of Raffles first began in 1887 when it was founded. The Sakis brothers were the original owners. And 43 years later, the Rotary Club of Singapore had its start there. In the year 1930, 75 leading members of the community, and I would expect it would include the general manager of Rotary, the general manager of Raffles Hotel to be present at that time. Oh no, why can't I move on? Let's see. Our club, when after the start, had most of the meetings elsewhere. We were in Adelphi, we were in Capitol, and then mainly in Mandarin Hotel. But for a brief moment, we returned home when past president, well, when Stan Low was president, we went back to that. And you can, those who were there remember that most of our meetings were in East India room. The journey of the Rotary Hotel has been long, as a bit longer than Rotary Club of Singapore. And today, from the past glory, it is in its present glory. And in the year 2017, Mr. Christian Westbeld was appointed General Manager, and he brought with him 20 years of experience in the hospitality industry. He had been in Germany, Bangkok, Manila, Dubai, Singapore, and then Beijing, and back to Singapore again. So the topic is today, Raffles Hotel Singapore, a timeless icon. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Christian Westbeld.
Thank you, P.P. Lipke, and I have great pleasure in giving you Christian Westbeld. Christian, please.
Thank you so much for this kind introduction, Mr. President. Rotarians, allow me to share my screen with you. Thank you very much for having me. This is certainly an unprecedented time, and I'm really honored to speak to you about Raffles, about our history, with a slight hint about the connection with Rotary, and I may be adding one or two pieces of information that were not covered just now. I'll also talk briefly about our recent restoration, which was concluded in August last year, and we completed the ramp up until the end of 2019, and we had 6 to 7 weeks COVID-free operation until this pandemic affected us. And we'll also talk a bit about the outlook, how we feel that travel and tourism will evolve. Allow me to run through my slides. Back in the 1800s, this is a familiar sight for the travelers that arrive from mainly Europe by boat. This is a Johnston Pier and the current Collier Quay and Fullerton Square. This was the first sight of travelers when they set foot on this beautiful island. Now, fast forward, Changi Airport, the best airport in the world, setting trends and standards globally as well. The connection with Rotary goes back to 1930, as we just heard, and it is not only a key date in time for our two organizations, but I think it's also a testament to the commitment of our two organizations to the community and to be doing good. And specifically in our current time, this is being asked of us more than ever, and to be a leader in the community, to do our service to everyone that might not be as well off as we are, is crucial. So I would like to lose a couple of words about what we're currently doing. We have looked early on in this pandemic at who might be affected that we can help professionally in this environment. And it became quite clear that the young talent, the young hospitality students and students in general that started their study career before COVID now have no possibilities or little possibilities for internship, or first job opportunities are no longer there. So we've made a commitment, and we currently still have 25 young students on property of 8 different schools, and we will continue to live up to that commitment. And while we also just heard we do not have the Rotary Club on property, anymore, but we're deeply connected still with Comchest, and we are having deep commitments this year as well to live up to, and we will never stop. This is requested, this is expected of us in Singapore, and we will live up to our reputation. The East India Room was mentioned already beforehand, but if you go back to the founding days, the actual starting room was the Regency Room, and it was actually in a very close location to where the East India Room is located. Let's move forward a little bit to the Raffles Singapore story. As I said, we just returned August last year after a 2-year restoration project. It was the second project of its kind. Our last restoration dates over 30 years back, when it was an expansive restoration where the footprint of the hotel was almost doubled. This restoration was very different. We went behind the walls and did not move too many elements around, but we made good and upgraded the facilities to a top luxury level, where comfort and experiences for guests were the main objectives. So our purpose continues for now 133 years to be the pride of Singapore on the world's hospitality stage, and creating timeless experiences through the legendary service that we're known for. We recognize the position and the expectation that the community has on the hotel, and we're aiming to fill this out in the future as well. Our vision and purpose, they're quite clear. We understand that luxury is something that that is much more than you own. It is about how you feel. It's about the experiences that we can create. It's about the connection with our colleagues that set us apart from the rest. Due to the destination that we are, being also so closely linked to Singapore, we see ourselves as an oasis for the well-traveled connoisseurs, and we're aiming to enchant everybody with that distinct and very meaningful experience. And I know this sounds maybe out of a textbook, but there are experiences that nobody else is able to replicate. Only Raffles Hotel Singapore can create. And the ambition that we have is not hunt for further stars or receive awards. It is really to be regarded as the most prestigious hotel brand in the world among top affluent travelers. But again, for Singaporeans to accept us as their icon of hospitality on the global stage. We have a couple of brand pillars that we were built on and that we continue. This is our legendary service. We actually do not have a lot of standard operating procedures, should be quite refreshing. We allow a lot of empowerment among the team to bring in their personalities. We do not actually hire only for resumes and background and accolades, but we hire for attitude, behavior, and for sincerity and the right heart to serve. The iconic design is something that was given to us at our birthplace and birth date, and we will continue to work with this. Now, 133 years later, I think it's imperative that we continue to create designs that set us apart, and that is something that we have achieved with our restoration. A culture for connoisseurs is really a backdrop of who has made us famous over the last many years, and it was the travel writers that came through and carried our word into the world. And we want to touch on that and build on that even further. So, for example, we have a beautiful Writers in Residency program that is connected to our Writers Bar. And then, of course, a destination for dining and celebration. It is imperative. Singapore, you get to know through your stomach and through taste. And we have always been at the forefront of cutting edge F&B restaurants and bars and experiences, and we have recreated those in our current and past restoration. And it was very important that we create experiences that fit into Singapore and that find little niches that are not necessarily to be benchmarked or copied, or that we don't copy what exists. That's why we have, for example, worked with the celebrity chefs that we have invited to join. And I'm quite proud to say that we actually said no to a lot of chefs that actually did not convince us to bring the right behavior and attitude into the city. We're here to evolve, and a concept is one thing, but then it is set up over many, many years for the future, and that needs to change and evolve. And we cannot accept something that had been done overseas and would be just a copy paste into Singapore. Our market here is much too sophisticated for that. The brand character that we present is all about graciousness and being intuitive. This is, again, something that touches on not having too many standard operating procedures, but allowing our team members to bring themselves in much more. Narajan, our senior doorman, you see here already, and we'll come to him in a second again. The Oasis for the Well-Traveled is something that speaks to our brand, and we're expanding quite rapidly around the world as we're part of Accor for now over 4 years. And every Raffles hotel aims to be a destination, something different. And I actually do get a question quite often from future owners that came by in the past to visit Raffles. Wonderful stay experiences, meetings, introductions to Raffles Hotel Singapore. But then the question comes, it's wonderful what you have here, but how can I transform and project what you have in Singapore into my brand new hotel in the city center in Europe? It's all steel and glass. How can I replicate this? And my answer to this is quite simple. 133 years, we were not who we are right now, but you need to give this time and make the right decisions in order to achieve that connection, to become your own destination and create all of that that culture. So all the words that you see on the screen there, they're really truly our DNA and how we're looking to present ourselves. It is interesting that we are one of the most worst iconic hotel brands. Wherever you go and wherever I go to sell the hotel and to represent, it is not difficult, as the name Raffles Hotel Singapore speaks for itself, and this is a wonderful experience. Now, we are all about our personalities and characters that we have with us, and you see here Narajan, who has been with us now for 28 years. And there are dozens of colleagues that we have that fit into that same caliber of loyalty and long service. And we take extra care about our colleagues, and I say that with additional strength and effort, because during our restoration, we had actually seconded about 60 of our Singaporean colleagues to sister hotels in Singapore under the Accor brand during our closure. And after up to 2 years, we successfully brought them back. That out of our 570 colleagues last year, over 150 and in the end were returning and existing Raffles colleagues. This is also something that we put to heart during COVID, and unfortunately, we were actually wrongly represented in an article that was released a few weeks ago in the Business Times, where a headline covered us as having done 15% retrenchments. This is incorrect. Raffles, we don't do things of that nature, and we're working with Business Times to correct that, at least in the archives. But that was quite unfortunate. But we do live up to our reputation as an employer of choice. Allow me to run you through very briefly through interior design elements of what we have created. One of the elements that we wanted to achieve with our recent restoration was actually to build on everything that we stand for. So I'm using my cursor here to point out certain elements. For example, we protected our heritage light switches that were set up many years ago. But at the same time, we introduced technology in ways that facilitate experiences and add to the value of travelers So we have iPads in the suites, we have the best internet connectivity, etc., etc. But at the same time, we always said technology is never a replacement for a human interaction, a conversation, or a manual service step. So all our technology is actually an addition. You can still perform every function in the suite that is built on technology, still manually. From an interior design point of view, you see the tripartite compartmentalization of our properties that was done over 100 years ago. Every suite has a balcony. You have our beautiful parlor. You have that larger bedroom, and enter into a bathroom of very beautiful interior design. So we're an all-suite hotel with 115 suites. We have over 10 restaurants and bars, our own spa, our own floral boutique, function spaces that are able to take up to 380 guests for weddings. This is non-COVID, of course. And we have our shopping arcade with around 30 tenants. So it is a large asset, and it's an important asset from a financial and commercial point of view for our owners and our corporate office and other stakeholders as well. Here you see a Palm Court Suite veranda view onto the main building. And it is that sense of space and sense of place that we recreated with our restoration. And during COVID, post circuit breaker, actually, we have opened the hotel to everybody the same way we normally operate. We were actually never closed during circuit breaker. We had 5 international guests staying with us during circuit breaker that did not want to or could not travel out. At the same time, we did expensive grab and go deliveries and pickup that brought us through. But come circuit breaker, we were extremely popular for the staycation market. And of course, we thought about during circuit breaker, how would we come back to this market? And one of the key elements that we decided very quickly was, let's not talk about COVID too much. When our guests come, we go through, of course, all the social distancing measurements and all the steps that were introduced by the authorities to 100% compliance. But let's make sure that our guests actually experience the true Raffles and forget a little bit the current times. And based on the feedback that we received, this was quite successful. You see our pool as well. As it is a rooftop pool here, quite a serene element of the hotel. And from a service aspect, when we relaunched the hotel last year, we added the pool as a breakfast destination for our guests, again adding different values and different touch points where guests can go and spend their time. But it's all about adding value to guests and making their time at Raffles Hotel Singapore worth their while. Raffles Boutique is a, call it, gift shop. This area was moved from the former Bras Basah building to the Sia Street side. And we were very successful to integrate a heritage gallery that was set up with the assistance of the National Heritage Board and the hotel's team to replicate a former Raffles museum that we used to have on the 3rd floor in the arcade. As we are a tourist destination, the gift shop was extremely affected, of course, by COVID. And we had in due time to reset our focus on how we can reopen to the local community. And we have initiated a few things, still working on a golf corner, a kids corner, a gourmet corner. But all of this is happening, and this is a transition and change that COVID brings with it, as we are set out to create our own demand in not only the gift shop but in all other areas. This is our spa suite. Again, spacious, luxury in a way, because you perceive the space as extremely grand, but it's not over the top. We're not a bling hotel. We're not comparative to the Burj Al Arab. we're much more an emotional connection to our guests. A few words about the restaurants that I mentioned. I see that we have here the Celebrity Chef restaurant and the Grand Lobby. So the strategic decisions and tactically driven as well were to bring in the celebrity chefs that would set us apart in Singapore with La Dame de Pique and Anne-Sophie Pique. We have the first female international Michelin star chef in the city. Chinese restaurant was crucial for us because in the past it was outsourced, and we felt it will add credibility to us to have our own operated Chinese restaurant. It's imperative, as most of our weddings are Chinese based as well, and to have our own Chinese restaurant will assist in that that positioning. And the bar and billiard room, one of our favorite concepts in the past. We felt a big name like Alain Ducasse would be able to set us apart. And of course, the Grand Lobby, who had always been, or which has always been a destination and center for celebrations, has returned with our afternoon tea and a beautiful added interior design. Then the Writers Bar has returned with a much refreshed concept and interior design. As you see, Long Bar as well was refreshed, not majorly changed because we felt the concept was extremely strong. But then here on the bottom, Butcher's Block, the former Long Bar Steakhouse, which was a little bit tired and dated. And now I think guests and our international as well as local travelers, they're looking for concepts that are precise, that are clear, that are easy to understand. And with this very masculine interior design, we have created that as well. Raffles Courtyard, our outdoor venue, very popular right now during this time, has also been refreshed to represent more the garden style feel that Singapore stands for. Now a little bit more about the pandemic itself. As I have said before, we are a hotel operator. We have restaurants and bars and function spaces. We have a spa, we have a florist, etc. But we're also landlord to tenants. And with all these key pillars come responsibilities. And if we go here into the next slide, I think I've tried to summarize what we felt was important during this time beyond the community service. It was the knowledge and understanding what COVID brings with it and how best to respond. So understanding the virus, understanding the business impact, understanding how long this will last, understanding how our colleagues are feeling individually, who is embracing this as an opportunity for change, who is fearful, and actually working tailor-made with our teams to ensure that we're going through this as a team. So we had set up weekly Zoom calls with all our team members from March actually onwards, and that proved quite well. We also tried to understand what are different industries doing around the world that we can learn from, because for us, as such a strong tourist destination, this virus meant a full stop and a 180-degree turn into a different direction. And I'm very, very happy to say that we're coming through this period commercially unharmed, and all our details are in the black. And that's a testament to the team and the commitment that we bring in, because we also fill out the shoes of being the team that currently is at Raffles. And while the hotel has seen many crises, financially based, wars, pandemics, we are here to bring the hotel through that phase and come out stronger in the end, but let nothing affect its reputation. The protection of the livelihoods was key. As I said, we have not made retrenchments, and the protecting of local livelihoods was key. So we had internal cost-saving measures in place, of course, with stakeholders and business partners around the world. But we also looked internally, what can we do? And we had a pyramid scheme in place of salary adjustments that started, of course, at the top and went down the ranks. It was also the time to understand international travelers. that had booked their stays with us and had prepaid their trips. Therefore, cash flow management became obviously one of the biggest priorities for us. Once, to make sure that all our guests are getting their refund if they're not able to travel, that all our suppliers are being paid, that our salaries are being paid in time, etc., etc. We managed, and again, credit to the team. Communication was key, being transparent, being open, not over-promising, not being too positive, I think have been key to our strategy on how we communicated to the team. And we continue to do that now, and it has worked out as well. I think this crisis has also shown us that questioning the status quo has been never as important as now. Every idea is a good idea as long as it can be discussed and executed properly. Cost management I mentioned. Then of course we're a business, therefore cost management and cost savings in the luxury hotel is not a way forward, because it will affect service, it will affect morale, and we don't stand for that. So it was crucial that we create our own demand and drive revenue and ensure that profits are made for whatever we try. So that has been the repositioning of the hotel for a post-circuit breaker period. And we actually understand that until Q3 of 2021, we might not see larger volume travel into Singapore and around the world. We benefit from everything that the government is doing, and this pandemic has also assisted us to connect very, very closely with the authorities. And being from Germany and having worked around the world, the support in Singapore is unprecedented, and it is a role model for every nation across the world on how to go through a situation like this. So that conversation and communication with stakeholders was important, and I was very happy that Raffles was thought out by a lot of authorities to be spoken to, listened about our concerns, and we have been pilots for a lot of the current initiations that are ongoing, and we never say no. We always want to help. We always want to support and fill out that role. As anything in a crisis, decisiveness and the execution timing are key to success. And again, credit to the team. Everybody pulled along and got things changed. Some projects that we had included in 5-year plans were executed within 2 weeks, because when it's necessary, we can. And this pandemic has shown that. Understanding also that travel might not be the same, and preparing for what is there to come, the evolution and continued improvement and continuous adaptation will be a key when travel rebounds. And we know from our travel partners all over the world that Singapore is the top of everybody's travel list, because the way it has gone through the pandemic. And Raffles, we will benefit from that trend. If I may say, in March, when COVID was already omnipresent and it affected travel, we actually still received a large number of international travelers that specifically looked to come and stay with the hotel after our restoration, and this is still a key motivator to stay with us. The road ahead, I think it remains to be all about a very strong safety and well-being message for each property, each hotel, for each destination, to create trust and reliability. Also flexibility when it comes to adjusting travel plans. You all know about the travel bubble with Hong Kong, and we have actually picked up in the first 5 hours of the announcement a few weeks ago, over 100 inquiries from Hong Kong, even without a date being specified at that time. It was just the sheer desire to travel out. And we're seeing now with the data announced for November 22 for these bookings to actually materialize. So that means that our markets are changing. Our market segments are changing. We are a very traditional hotel. We have key markets out of the US, continental Europe, the UK, Australia, and Japan. And that is going to change over the next month. The sources of where bookings are coming through are also affected. So change will remain present for the next many months. The digital infrastructure, partner communication, and creating digital content are key to what is there to come. I've mentioned how fast we were able to adapt. And this is something that nations and continents that are currently under a second lockdown are striving for to get their hands on. They want to continue to dream. They want to know how we're going through this this crisis. So that communication with everybody needs to be continuing to be transparent, honest, and sincere and trustworthy. We continue to look at our the local market and the domestic market at hand by creating experiences and collaborations in order to drive that demand. Has worked out extremely well, and we will continue the year very, very healthy. And also Q1 and Q2, we have a few plans in place as we see international travel really only bouncing back in Q3. Travel bubbles and STB-driven pilot projects, as I've mentioned, we're not saying no to anything. We want to assist, we want to help, and we want to show that Singapore has great partners in Raffles Hotel Singapore, and we will continue to fill out that position, and we'll build our virtual tools and then libraries, as I said before. So this is a quick summary of what I have mentioned. I think the key here to be a bit more specific when it comes to staycation packages and the experiences. So we work with a number of local partners here. We have visits to the Intan Peranakan Museum. We work with Tanah Wat bicycle trail around the Civic District and City Hall on what to discover and how it has changed over the last many years. And we have a suite theater set up in our suites that allows premiere viewing of movies for residents when they check in with us. You can't see that anywhere else. So we're recreating the demand for us. The other areas I think I have covered already, and in the essence of time, I'll move on. What are we going to benefit from in the future? This is an image that you see here from our official opening event in October last year. As a hotel, we will benefit from our restoration massively in the recovery, as over 3 years now, we have sold the hotel globally, we have traveled, we have met partners, and what has been created here is appreciated, and travelers will come and look for us. And we're very confident as well. Service innovations, in the end, it's all about the people that work with us. And we have wonderful individuals here. Our head butler, Grace Kyong, she lives and she is the embodiment of our legendary service. She is pure passionate about what she does at the hotel. She's also a returnee to the hotel, and we will continue to allow these individuals to push service to levels that you have not seen yet. And I know this sounds very dramatic, but it is important that service evolves and that we continue with staying iconic. That employer of choice. So you see the whole team that we had pre-COVID with us. That was our official colleague picture. We remain on the road to be that employer of choice for everybody, and protecting livelihoods right now remains key for us, as it has always been. So with that, I would like to hand back and open for Q&A. I hope I have not put anybody to sleep. And this was a little bit of interest to you again. Thank you very much for having me. This was a wonderful experience. Quick side note, the first time I encountered a Rotary meeting was in 1998 in Bangkok. And that has never left me, as in every hotel that I've worked around the world. There was at least one or two Rotary meetings that took place with us. So I'm very blessed to have had that opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Christian Westbeld. You have given us a brand story of this iconic hotel. And more interesting was that how you are managing the COVID-19 interruption. I'm sure many of our members have many questions. I had one that we didn't hear about the long bar with the Singapore sling. Whether it's still there, we can peel off ground nuts and throw it on the ground. Well, I will hand over to Bridget to coordinate questions and answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, President. And Christian, can I ask you to stop sharing your screen, then we can see the whole panel of attendees? Wonderful. You are there, yes. So we do have quite a few questions in the chat, and I would like to start with our past President Mark Wang, who's actually in quarantine in China. He did not share in which hotel, but he has a question. Mark, are you there? Do you want to quickly ask your question yourself?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you, Bridget. First of all, wonderful presentation. I lived in a hotel half a year, every year for the last 25 years. So I'm right now in a quarantine hotel, but nothing compared to Raffles. My question is this: Raffles Hotel is unique. For example, you have 10 restaurants for about 130, 40 rooms. So obviously you do most businesses outside of your hotel guests. And it is indeed an iconic place to visit. So my question is, what is the, let's say, revenue split of your business from your hotel guests and from outsiders just coming for food and so on?
That is, thank you, Mark, for your question. I hope you're well. If I may give that back to you as a professional, if you have heard the commercial aspect and the business positioning, what would be your understanding from a percentage distribution between food and beverage and the rest of the hotel?
Actually, I'm more of a consumer than hoteler, so
allow me to jump in. Then it's absolutely correct. The business model of the hotel relies extremely on food and beverage and the shopping arcade and the gift shop. The 115 suites that we have, they are crucial for us when it comes to driving rate and positioning. It is our business card. This is where we create our reputation internationally, where food and beverage is more catered to the local community actually at this moment in time. Of course, we have Long Bar that is known by everybody, and President, I'll come back to your question shortly. But it is seeing Raffles through the community's eye is where F&B comes in. There were years in the past, and I've been with Raffles Singapore for totally 7 years on 3 different occasions, where we did 350 weddings in 1 year, and with 5 destinations, 52 weekends in a year. You would understand what that means on weekends. So that's where it comes in. And there's a heavy overhang in food and beverage that needs to work in order to be successful. Long Bar currently is still closed as we're waiting for the guidelines by the authorities to be communicated precisely as to when we could open. And our plan is to open the moment we are allowed, because Long Bar is operating on a bar and entertainment license. So we're not able to operate at this moment. If you would like to have a Singapore sling, I would encourage and invite all of you. Please join us in the courtyard. It's not the same. but it is the original Singapore sling, and you may still throw peanuts on the floor without being reprimanded for it.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
We have one question from past President Perlita with regard to your staff and pre and after reopening. PP Perlita, do you want to ask your question?
Okay, I think Christian mentioned about a lot of, did you say 150 of the staff actually remained after the restoration? I'm just wondering whether, did you keep the key staff, the people that we are emotional about, the people that we more or less know by sight, maybe not by name? And has the service improved or deteriorated, or at least maintained after restoration?
Thank you very much for that question. So yes, indeed, it was about 115 colleagues that reopened the hotel that have been with us before. About 60 were seconded to our sister hotels, and the remaining colleagues actually were part of the core team that worked with me on setting up the hotel. So we were about 90 colleagues in a pre-opening office that were working on recreating Raffles the way it was desired. The service levels, I am quite transparent about this. Having been Raffles, I believe I understood the expectation from international and travelers and the local community of what would expected of us. Certainly not going back with our service levels. But any opening is not easy, and not everything works smoothly. So the way we look at this is giving us 6 to 12 months time in order to stabilize the operation. And that's where we were actually having opened in August. That's where we were in January of 2020. I was happy with the way our service had come together. We have done a few things for specifically our butler team. We have worked with a butler training school that is not known to train butlers for hotels, but only for royal families around the world. So I'm trying not to look at the hotel side too much, because sometimes hoteliers, we can be a little bit stiff, dusted, and we don't like to think outside the box. That's why I also have in food and beverage quite a few members, senior members that have never worked in a hotel, but in freestanding restaurants. So as I had said in my presentation, questioning the status quo remains key. Unfortunately, COVID has put us back to zero, and we're going to start off once again. But that such is life, and I certainly don't want to complain at all how we've gone through COVID.
Just one small one. What about change in ownership? You know, there has been changes in ownership. Has that affected the management at all?
Yeah, our current owner, Qatar Hospitality, took the asset over in 2011, and already then made a commitment to renovate the property. And it was started the planning was started in 2014, very thoroughly. And I think the end product speaks for the quality of our owner. Also, if you look at their corporate profile, they are asset owners and developers at the highest level, having about 35 international hotels of Raffles Hotel standards, and probably higher in some destinations because of location and specific requirements. And they pride themselves in understanding luxury as well. And they're certainly in this asset for the long run. They are not purely driven by financial return on investment. Of course, this is important as well. As you imagine, the asset was purchased, then it was completely renovated. We're driving our ROI, of course, very, very much. But I'm extremely pleased with the way this is all managed, and under this situation as well. Personally and professionally, I could have not asked for a stronger partner.
Thank you. Thank you.
I like to move now to our guest, John Garris. John, you have a question. John, are you still there?
Yeah, Christian, can you hear me?
Yes, quite lightly, but I can.
Yeah, I'll get as close to the mic as I can. Two things. Thanks for the informative presentation and for helping us see how to bridge a pandemic from the inside out. I'm curious, when we get past the pandemic, like I'm talking 2024 and beyond, with potentially at a minimum business travel getting squeezed, potentially going forward for a decade or more, and international travel for tourism potentially getting a little squeezed. Do you see things snapping back to the way they were and you go back to the old business model? Or are you looking at finding hybrid or alternative models going forward for the next decade?
Thanks for that question, John. Yeah, that's, I think, the million-dollar question, predicting the future. I think for once, we all work in scenarios and predictions, and we amend every day. I think long-term, the reputation of Singapore will strongly assist every hotel here. Our name as well will drive business, as international travelers will be more careful to choose where they travel to. We are also attractive to a specific kind of traveler from overseas that are emotionally engaged, and I do see that these segments will continue to come and actually strive. The corporate traveler and the related corporate MICE traveler is not our key backbone. And we have seen over the last month that we were open actually, that a lot of C-suite travelers are coming over to this part of the world and are combining business and leisure. So it's the bleisure segment coming for a long period of time with their families, staying with the hotel for 6 days, working 2 days, and the rest is being just enjoyed by and with the family. So I think this whole situation we're in is going to create its own segmental changes that we might not even see. But I think the high-end luxury emotional-based travel with strong experiences, strong stories, strong service culture with trust, that is key. And I think 2024 is a long shot where the airlines are looking at. And let's go back to my business model with 115 suites. I don't necessarily need the whole world to travel. I would love to see cruise ships come back for Longba, but I think the waiting times that we had in the past, they might be shortened because again, Longba is a destination that will create and drive its own demand because it's just a must to do. And every traveler that will come to Singapore, there's a strong likelihood will come by. And the last point to your question, because it's quite the key question, there will be hybrid elements. I think working from home will remain even in hotels for admin colleagues to a certain extent. And then the MICE and the meeting part will be affected. But again, we have reinvented ourselves so many times and we will continue to do so.
Great. Thank you.
Can I ask a question which is not on the Q&A? It's just a little historical idea which I want to know a little bit. When and how did this whole question of throwing peanuts on the floor come into Raffles in the long bar?
I have heard that this presentation and conversation is being recorded and put on YouTube. If I may, I would love to invite you personally, and I will tell you directly.
Done. That's all. You're on.
Thank you. I think there are a lot of interesting questions, interests in the Raffles story, but we have to look at the time. And I think we have to move on. Bridget, can we go for another question, or?
I think Pipi Mohan had a question with regard to the most beloved Empire Cafe in the Tiffin Room. Pipi Mohan.
This is the last.
Christian, just a quick question. The Long Bar, I'm sorry, the Empire Cafe and the Tiffin Room were very popular. Are they coming back after renovation? Is the Tiffin Room coming back?
Yeah, I think I should have put that picture up because for Tiffin Room and the Tiffin concept is the most beloved concept with the bar and billiard room together. And we have a beautiful redesigned Tiffin Room. We just had wonderful events. We had a collaboration with Tevar from Kyongsag Road in Tiffin Room, and we had Diwali menus as well. So Tiffin Room is back in the same location with a brand new, beautiful look. My view and my eyes, this is 100% out of 100% from an interior design point of view. Extremely happy. So please try it. It's the same chef that we had before.
Okay, good.
He was not part of the core team, but what he did instead, we sent him back to India, and he actually traveled through India and explored different regions and brought us back quite a few good things.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
Empire Cafe was a concept that was created in the 1991 restoration, and knowing MS Puri and Ms. Jenny Chua quite well, they've done an outstanding job with these concepts. They were extremely tight, but after 30 years, I think the team, and I include myself because I was part of that team, we were not able to recreate Empire Cafe. And at that time, Singapore was changing quite rapidly with the 2 IRs coming up. A lot of freestanding creative innovators and businessmen came and pushing into new concepts. And at that time, I say that transparently as well, I think we were a bit tired when it comes to our concept and reinvesting money. There was already talk of a renovation and nobody really wanted to take a risk. So we had outsourced Empire Cafe actually, even before the renovation. And we made a conscious decision right now, or last 2 years, not to do a replica, but to actually rent out the spaces of Artang's Bakery and Empire Cafe, as well as Sears Street, Delhi. But we looked at concepts that might have long legs in the future. So we have Gather and Singapore Coffee and Burger and Lobster filling out these spaces, and they're doing quite well. So it's important to balance the F&B portfolio quite a bit, in addition to our own restaurants, not to bring in, of course, competition, but also to bring in names that can live quite well with us. And in that line as well, we used to have a tenant called Shinji in our arcade, the former Doc Cheng's restaurant, if you remember.
Doc Cheng, yeah.
We have Oshino now in the hotel. Same owner, Joni Ong. Big fans and great partners to have. They have done a high-end sushi restaurant again with us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christian, for a wonderful evening, that the experience that you have given us today. And we do not have much time, so I'll have to call upon IC Chair Varun Gulati to give a vote of thanks.
Thank you so much. I'm sure, going by the messages, there are a lot of Rotarians, especially PP Tapan, who will have to spend bringing his wife to spa and the restaurant sooner than later. Thanks for rekindling a memory. So, dear Mr. President, fellow Rotarians, ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to have been asked to propose the vote of thanks today. I, on behalf of Rotary Club of Singapore, and my own behalf, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to Mr. Christian Westbeld for sharing with us about the icon of our country and the history of Rotary Club of Singapore associated with the historic hotel. Thank you so much for reminding us about the East India Room, the Regency Room, and of course, who doesn't know about our Singapore Sling and the famous Long's Bar. Hope you continue to create more timeless and emotional, luxurious experiences for everyone who visits your hotel. I particularly like a few things that you mentioned. Singapore, you get to know through your stomach and through your taste. And about the Raffles Hotel, we are a destination, a beacon, a safe haven, a place to refresh and recuperate, calm and vibrant, where culture meets where stories are told and meaning different things to different people. We normally present a certificate and a prestigious book of humor, but of course that will be mailed to you. We can't do that. We normally do that in a physical meeting. We are all inspired by the information and your great words. Hope we can get a great deal to be able to meet again at the Raffles Hotel monthly again as we used to. All the best for handling the pandemic, and thanks again for a virtual holiday that you took us to today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Varun. Can you please all unmute and give a round of applause? Applause to Christian, please.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. So next week, we have another very interesting speaker, and it will be really would like most of you please come and listen to him. And he is P.P. Ravi Shankar Dakoju from Rotary Club of Bangalore in India. And his topic is giving while living. He is a Rotarian who has given to Rotary Foundation 100 crores. This is a lot of money in India, which is equal to 14.8 million US$. And he's the second to only Bill Gates, Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation, who has given this amount of donation. So he will tell you his story, and it'll be worth listening in this month of Rotary Foundation. So let's listen to him next week. And I think with that, I would close the meeting. And thank you very much, everybody, to be here with us and enjoying this evening together with our speaker, and really the wonderful experience. You can continue after the meeting is closed on the fellowship. And so I would like to close the meeting now. Please continue with fellowship.